Hello everyone, so this week's quiz quest answer. So we're going to start off with actually getting the equation of the curve in a more understandable way. So we're going to start by expanding the brackets of y equals 10x negative 3 x plus 1. So we will expand the brackets. So 10x into x is 10x squared, and then negative 3 into x is negative 3x. 10x into positive 1 is positive 10x, and negative 3 into positive 1 is negative 3. So this therefore simplifies to 10x squared plus 7x negative 3. From here, I also want to rewrite the equation of the line. So it's given as y minus 6x is equal to 0, but I want to write it as y equals 6x. Why? Because then it's in the y equals mx plus c form, which is more understandable for most of us, right? So what are we going to do now? Just to give an idea, so it's talking about basically two intersection points A and B. So let's kind of visualize this. Any curve which has basically a positive number in front of x squared, we say has the smiley face as a shape. So we're going to look at basically how this curve looks like. And when you substitute x equals 0 in this equation for the curve, you can see that it's going to be y equals negative 3. So that means the y-intercept of the curve is negative 3. So if I just roughly sketch out here, now it's not a must for you to sketch it out because you're not going to get marks for that, but this is just going to help us visually picture where this intersections come in, right? So you can see that at negative 3 we've got the intersection, so we've got the curve basically coming like here and going up here. And then if you look at the equation of the line, so the line does not have a plus c part, which means it's going through the origin or the 0, 0 point, and it's a positively sloped one at 6x. So that means we've basically got a line going like this, right? So I'm going to label my 2 points as A and B. Now what I want you to realize is at this particular A and at this particular B point, the x value and the y value on both the line and the curve is going to be the same, right? Because it's meeting at that point. So if I use that theory, then I can actually equate that the y equals 6x of the line must be equal to the 10x squared plus 7x negative 3 of the curve, because the y's should be the same, right? So using that theory, I'm going to move down here to work out the next part. So basically I'm going to say 10x squared plus 7x negative 3 is equal to 6x, which I can then simplify to 10x squared plus x negative 3. Now from this point is equal to 0, right? So from this point I basically need to solve this quadratic equation. And when I want to solve the quadratic equation, there's two methods, right? So one is to factorize. Now for the factorize method, basically what you need to do is you can, let's see. So first you have to multiply the point 10 and 3 negative 3, so you have to multiply these two. So this is going to be negative 30. So we're going to be looking at factors multiplying to negative 30 and adding to positive 1. So if we look at the different possibilities, we have 1 and negative 30, 2 and negative 15, 3 and negative 10, and then we have 5 and negative 6, or we have the other way around, which is 6 and negative 5. And I'm going to stop at this one because I know that when I add 6 and negative 5, that's going to give me a positive 1. So that is the factors I need. So therefore I can break this 10x squared into plus 6x and negative 5x, and negative 3 is equal to 0. And I'm going to factorize the first two terms here. So I'm going to take out a 2 and an x, leaving me with 5x plus 3, and then I'm going to take out a negative 1 from the second two give me the same 5x plus 3 in the bracket. So since 5x plus 3 is common, I can take that as one bracket, and I can take the remaining, which is 2x negative 1, in my other bracket. And from here I can say that 5x plus 3 is equal to 0, which means x is equal to negative 3 over 5. So I can take this as negative 0.6. The same way, 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. So x is equal to half, and that's x is equal to 0.5. So basically those are the two solutions, or two x values for the two coordinates that I have here. Okay, but I basically want to show you that there is another method by which we can obtain this. So if you are not comfortable to factorize, then there is no problem with using the formula, right? So we'll say the quadratic formula, and the quadratic formula basically calculates it the same way, but it's like an equation where you substitute, right? So if you have an expression in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, then you can find the x values by using this equation: minus b plus minus square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Right, I'll make that part look more like a c, it's 4ac. So my equation is perfectly fitting within that. So if I compare these letters to the equation I had, you can see that a is equal to 10, b is equal to 1, c is equal to negative 3, and hence I can substitute all this in. So minus 1 plus minus square root of 1 minus 4, 10, negative 3, all over 2 times 10, right? So going forward, this will then be minus 1 plus minus, it's going to be 1 plus 120 over 20, and this then goes to minus 1 plus minus square root of 121, which I can just take as 11, is 20. So therefore you can see my two answers are going to be minus 1 plus 11 over 20, which is basically 10 over 20, and that's 0.5 as we got earlier. The other x value is minus 1 minus 11 over 20, which is equal to minus 12 over 20, and that again is going to give me negative 0.6, just like earlier. So regardless of which method you choose to solve your quadratic equations, you should be getting the same x value to move forward with this. So from there we basically need to calculate the y values, right? So we need to now that we know that x is equal to negative 0.6, so this must be for point A. For point B we are looking at x is equal to 0.5. So we need to find the y value, and we can simply find that by using y equals 6x, the equation of the line. So I am going to substitute 6 into say negative 0.6 here, and the same way I can substitute 6 into 0.5. So this gives me 3, right? And if you do the other one, which is 6 times 0.6, which is like 3.6, right? So this is going to be negative 3.6. So therefore the final two coordinates I have is point A is negative 0.6 comma negative 3.6, and point B is 0.5 comma 3. But the question did not ask me for this. Basically it asked me to find the midpoint, right? So to find the midpoint, that is basically x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2, which is basically the formula to find a midpoint, and it simply just means add the two x values together. So in my case minus 0.6 plus 0.5 divided by 2 and minus 3.6 plus 3 divided by 2, and this then simplifies to negative 0.1 over 2 comma negative 0.6 over 2, which then gives me negative 0.05 comma negative 0.3 as the final solution for the midpoint. Subscribe us now for more videos and content.